Welcome to another episode of Ankle Sore and North Club Corner.
So join in the chorus.
So, Vito, look out. Look out, everyone. This is emotional charged.
Mate, I'm just going to start with one thing, and I heard it on SEN, but I actually said this beforehand. Alastair Clarkson, cut the bullshit press conferences with the same rubbish about being on the right path, improvement, blah, blah, these blokes, those blokes. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I know a heap of North supporters and members that go every week, and they've had enough. They actually say, you know what, Vete? We used to have a cracky and go, you're a bit harsh, you're a bit... He goes, no more. This is enough. Your mate said it before, 10 steps back, whatever he said. He's right.
11, he said.
11. Even worse. It's disgraceful.
So just elaborate on the Clarkson a little bit more.
I just kept saying, we're on the right path.
Yep.
You know, we played the grand finalists of last year. I couldn't give a stuff who we played.
There was 8 players that didn't play in that grand final.
One. 2, again, I couldn't give a stuff for the simple reason it's not about Sydney, it's about improvement.
Yeah,
you're playing under the roof. You love playing there. 2 weeks ago, that was all fake against Melbourne because Melbourne's in a world of hurt.
Oh, well, you look now.
Correct, right? So, you know what, Alastair? Cut the rubbish. You know, I thought you were better than that and actually come out and go, you know what? This is not good enough. Things need to change. Whatever else needs to be done. But you can't just keep giving us supporters and members the same rubbish.
So that was on the back of what you heard with David King on SEN saying the same sort of thing. And what he elaborated a little bit more on is, look, the supporters go to the game week in, week out. They're there. They love their club. They support. But eventually...
Exactly what he said.
Eventually, the supporters will turn around and say, stop lying.
That's what they're angry. That's what everyone's angry about.
Lying. Be honest.
He goes, they'll go through the thick and thin.
And they'll eventually wake up.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Again, game over in the first quarter. Mate, you text me.
It's gone.
Because I wasn't feeling the best, as you know, Saturday.
He spent 1 minute with me.
That was ridiculous, right? So that was the other thing I wasn't
That was the problem. We lost all our structure by you going. It was like I had to hold up the whole damn wall.
It's true. It's true. But do you agree? You text me and you go, it's over. 4 goals to 1, whatever it was. It's over. And I said, yeah, of course it's over.
That's right.
I'm not going to come back from this.
They didn't fight. It looked as though they didn't fight.
No energy.
I won't say.
No energy. How can you be turning the ball over in the first quarter when you should be full of beans, full of energy, and it's like they were playing 4 quarters in 30 degrees, and the last quarter you go like, I'm cooked.
Yep.
And you're missing targets. I don't understand.
I thought selection was wrong as well.
Yeah. Selection was wrong. We'll get to that. Disposal, decision making, horrendous under pressure, Angelo.
Well,
tell me about it.
That's been the common denominator all through last year, and it really hasn't got any better.
That's
Even
my
like
point.
The day that they won by 10 goals, the disposal decision making wasn't great, but the opposition was a D grade level, like on the day.
You know, also before we touch on
I think I said it a couple episodes ago that I'm not sure about the game plan, whether it actually suits. Well, it suits
I know
footy.
they're trying to
move
play
the
that.
footy, but they want to put the footy inside the corridor, and then the ball goes the other way, and there's no corridor security. They don't look after it. And Sydney just waltzing through the middle. No pressure.
You need to have skill to do it.
Look, I don't think with their list and what they got, bottom end can play that game plan.
Mate,
it's got to.
Joyce Simpkin having a crack at kids for missing targets. Mate, did you see me? He's running 45 metres into goal.
Yeah.
And instead of, I don't know what he's trying to do, pass it to whoever, missed out North bloke by 10 yards when he could have kicked the goal.
But do you think that, like, Richmond have got a very simple basic game plan, and we saw them succeed against Carlton in the first round, and it probably kept them head above water with their game plan against Brisbane to lose by 5 goals and kick 90 points.
They try, mate.
They try.
Actually don't throw in
but
the
what
towel.
I'm getting at is it too difficult for them?
Oh, well, then there's a big problem.
Well, then you've got to go back and implement a simpler game plan for what their skill set is. You've got a gun forward, potential Coleman medalist.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, you got Darling. You got this so-called A-grade midfield.
I'm yet to see it barring one game.
And you've got a very brittle Swiss cheese defence. So they're the facts.
I just want to touch on this before. There's a couple of players I'm going to bring up here. But before that, Caleb Daniel, he's turning it over.
Beautiful.
What's going on here?
Beautiful. I've got a stat for you.
Please.
He's had 28 kickouts this year.
Yep.
and from those direct kickouts has conceded 5 goals.
Dear, right? No, I didn't know that. No,
So
honestly didn't know that.
when is it time for someone in that coaching staff, doesn't have to be Clarkson,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
the defensive coach, or himself, put your hand up and say,
Right.
I don't think I can do this job.
Give me something.
I think I have to play higher up the field.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or a player in defence or someone say, just in a gentle conversation, is Caleb Daniel the right player to be kicking the ball out? 5 goals.
Yeah.
5 goals.
That's crazy.
And that's come from, again, they're mentioned on SEN, so it's a fact. It's
Okay. These blokes, Hanson Jr., enough,
Okay, so these blokes are not up to it.
in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure if
yeah.
you agree. This is why I'm bringing this up. Dylan Stevens, get out of my sight.
Get out.
Get back in the cornflakes packet that I found you
Get
in.
out.
Right?
No, you wouldn't recognise him, you said.
No,
you said
I
he
would
wouldn't,
now.
you wouldn't recognise him if he popped up out of your
Yeah,
cornflakes.
initially when everyone goes, oh, Dylan Stevens from Sydney. Mate, popped out of my cornflakes packet, wouldn't know who he is. Darcy Tucker, enough. Enough. Get out. Scared under pressure, makes the wrong decisions. And look, I'm not having a crack at this kid, his first
No,
game.
you can't.
But with very extreme. There's
Incredibly raw.
No, there's raw and then there's raw. Now this poor kid's been thrown
Yeah.
into the deep end against Sydney, right?
They dropped Pink for him.
And that was wrong.
And we
Griffin
took-
Logue comes in. Why did Griffin Logue come in and Pink out?
That was a bit weird because I thought Pink was okay the last
was
2
very
weeks.
good, Pink.
I thought he held up against Adelaide's forward line.
Very good.
And he was good against Melbourne. I'm surprised at that. To bring in a kid, like I said, selection's weird.
Weird.
They brought in Hardiman.
Yeah.
So they're bringing 2 debutants, although
But I don't think... I don't argue
has
that.
Hardiman played a
I think
game?
Hardiman's played.
He has. Oh, he's played, 1 or 2, maybe?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hardiman's played. Anyway, then we
It's
have...
just strange. Go on. What's next?
well, I just wanted to talk about, we've spoke... Well, here's
Phillips.
the other bloke. That's the one I was just
Yeah.
trying to think of. Why? Drop him.
And he wasn't ill.
What's
He
he
got
done
dropped.
wrong? What's he done
He
wrong?
got dropped.
What? No, what's
I
he
don't
done
know.
wrong?
I don't
You know
know.
what they'll say? I was all about the team will play. You know, they do that for team balance.
Oh, rubbish. So
Yeah,
Riley
rubbish.
Bice got 25 disposals off. But
see
he
that?
couldn't have gone to him. And we also mentioned Finn O'Sullivan was sick during the
Yep,
week and we
Foss.
knew he wasn't going to play. And
Yep.
you said, Foss, and you said, well, he's only played 3 games. I'll give up the game if a 3-game player
I apologise.
is the difference. And
I
I said,
apologise.
I don't know about that.
Because off half back, he actually is so composed.
He made it, yeah.
and he makes the right decisions already, that kid.
Yep. Well, you talk about players that are not up to it. There are some. There's no A graders in this side. There are some.
Stop for a second, because he just triggered my memory. Harold Sheasel, what's going on?
Harold. He's fast becoming the best useless disposal gatherer in the competition. Next to Paddy Cripps.
Do you know the comments we're going to cop a hiding for that.
I don't care if he gets 35 possessions.
Correct.
We don't. I'd rather him get 20 and kick 3 goals or set up.
Or
3
set up,
goals.
yeah.
And just little dinky little handballs, wraps around the
your
pack.
mate was telling me that
Gets another
because he
short
loves him.
kick.
Yeah, he loves him.
does. I'm not saying he's
I'm
not an
saying-
A grader. He's
saying
still
he's
B.
he was going at 80% or 90% or something. I don't
Why?
know. But you know what, mate?
But why would you? That's what I mean.
It's not really effective in my book. A player of that calibre, so-called calibre, you got to do more than that.
Where should he be playing?
I'd put him a little more forward, to be honest.
Kicked a nice goal a few
That's
weeks
what I
ago.
mean. Like I put him, around the half forward line.
I think they've got to start, and again, back to coaching, they've got to start giving this kid his craft. Because at the moment, his craft is all over the place. He goes forward, he goes through the midfield, he goes across half
and he's probably a little frustrated too, thinking, mate, I've got to stand up here. We're the rest of these blokes.
Yeah, that's what I
can
mean.
understand
Like,
that.
they've got to do that.
Also, 52 points.
Oh, before you go on to the margin, LDU.
No, I'm talking about what we kicked, but yeah, go on.
Okay. Oh, I was going to talk about players, but 52 points under a roof. Lucky didn't touch the footy until the last
Kicked
15
two of
minutes
the
of the game.
cheapest goals in history at the end. You
Yeah,
saw
good
that.
goal too.
Which one?
The set shot goal.
Oh, yeah, that was
How on
beautiful.
earth did he keep that straight?
Because there's no pressure on him. If that game was 3 points in, do you reckon he kicks it? I don't know.
Lucky can do that, can't he?
He can.
Lucky he's capable.
He can. But what I'm trying to say is 8-4-52 against the Sydney. Let's talk about Sydney's backline for a second. McCartan, very good. Don't get me wrong. Mate, barring that, what have they got? Rampy? And then just other Franklin's, no
Yeah,
name.
look, a lot of people during the week are like, "Oh, Sydney's a nothing. They were nothing. We got," and you've been big on that.
I've been big on it all week. I said North should be right with this one.
But looking back, and we're all champions at hindsight, looking back, yeah, they had 8 players that weren't in that grand final, but it's a football club with a strong culture. They're tough, they're hard.
They're structured.
They're structured. But those 8 players might not have played in last year's grand final, but they lived a week or they lived a year playing in a side that finished on top,
knows what they're doing.
played in the grand final. They're in a different culture, these kids.
And before, North
Don't have a premiership player. Sydney still had 6 of them in that
But
side.
North don't know what they're doing. And also, they deserve all the scrutiny. Do you, now, I know more.
Yeah.
They deserve everything that comes their way. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Big question now. The big question.
Yep.
LDU, stay or go?
I used to laugh and go, he's not going anywhere. There's actually a possibility that he might not be at North. And to be honest, I don't really care.
My thoughts are on the back of I don't really care. We will survive if he goes. He won't be the first and he won't be the last player to leave a football club
I don't care.
of that quality, of that ability. Happens all the time over the last
When you say quality and
100
ability,
years.
I'm just going to stop you for a minute. What do you mean by that?
Well, he wins the footy and he's dynamic. Yep. He wins the footy. He does lift up his teammates around him when he does he's a bit of a freak at times.
Yep.
Don't get enough of it.
Yep.
Don't get enough of it.
And I'll tell you.
Yeah. So what's your...
One of the shittest kicks in that side.
Yeah, true.
Kicks with his shin. Mate, I thought,
Greg Williams wasn't a good kick.
You know what I said yesterday? I said to your mate yesterday, I said, if we were playing if the roof was a bit low, he'd hit it. Like when we were playing soccer indoor footy. You kick it too high.
Play on. That's
on.
a ball up. In soccer it was play on, but...
What the hell? So people go...
And he goes.
People go, LDU this, LDU that. And you blokes know, how long have I been on him?
Yeah, and what's your theory if he goes? You said it to me yesterday.
I don't care now.
No. You get 2 first rounders.
Yeah, we'll get first rounders.
We'll get 2 more
because
kids.
everyone will get sucked in on how good they think he is.
Yeah.
Right? Mate, there was a bloke that rang SEN and I told you, I listened to it.
Yep.
Mate, he said he can go, mate. Bye-bye. See you later. He would really?
Yep.
Like, be honest, right now, would you be like, oh, no, we can't lose him?
If you said to me, don't worry, we'll lose him, but there'll be success at the end of the line without him, I'd say yes.
No.
But it's easy to say, isn't it?
It is. But, again, whether he goes or he doesn't, I'm not fussed, mate. See you later if he does. Bye-bye.
Possible wins next week.
These 2 blokes I'm about to bring up must play. Dersma, why isn't he playing? I know he's not setting the world alight. You know this better than me.
Yeah, you go up a level, you could have impact.
You go up a level and you go, all right, I need to step up here, mate. I'm a number 5 pick, whatever he is, 10, whatever he was, right? I need to step up here. And you just think differently. I'm just saying.
He didn't look as though he was out of place or out of depth when he played.
I know. But all of a sudden, I know he got injured, and then he's just been like, nah.
Yep.
Right? He needs to play for me, and George has to come back here more this week. He has to. He's got 20 touches.
I know he got 20, and they won by 10 goals, the VFL. They did say that they were going to have a real slow attitude to it and really hold him back.
So you reckon he won't play this week again?
I don't think he'll play AFL this week. I think he'll play VFL.
You reckon they won't make him travel? Do you reckon he'll play Good Friday?
He might play Good Friday.
He has to play Good Friday.
There's no VFL this week.
No, okay. Oh, well then.
So either does he play or does he have another week off?
And then has to come back.
So what did they play him in the VFL last week? Why didn't they give him 2 more weeks off and then resume Good Friday?
Yeah. Well, that's
in the VFL.
No, but I'd like him to play Good Friday. It's a big... Look, I know we probably lose, but it's a big game.
Coming straight out of the paddock.
It's a big game for the club.
It is.
It's the biggest club. It's the biggest game we're involved in.
Yeah, it is.
We're not involved in many big ones.
Is.
You know what I mean?
It is.
And what do you think this week?
I don't think they'll get within 50 points.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think Gold Coast is on a mission. They've got a little bit of form.
They're going to say, look,
they're coached well. They're playing well. And North are not.
Hardwick's
and North
smart man. He would have watched that North game and gone, this is what we need to do, mate.
Dean Cox pulled apart North's game plan, and every coach they're easy to pull apart North.
It's true.
They're not hard to beat.
Said, I don't know if I used to buy...
And they're not even being hard to beat.
I don't know if I used to buy this comment, but people go, he got out-coached. Does that work? It works. Is that true? It's true. It can be true.
I don't like that saying.
But they reckon it's true. It happens.
They say it's true.
Well, I was saying, I know where they said, oh, mate, he outsmarted Clarkson the whole game.
But that's inside the game. That's just moves. Yeah, I guess so, but I'm not big on that.
Yeah,
but
I don't know much to take.
You can certainly lose games at selection table,
yeah,
or hamper your chances of winning at selection table.
So, mate, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Well, you'll be saying the same thing next week.
No, I won't. No, I won't, because I'll rip the paint off the walls in here.
Get some paint stripper out.
Yeah.
There you have it. Another episode of North Club Corner in the books. Let us know in the comments your thoughts about North. We love reading your comments and we will reply to all of you. See you in the next one.